My name is Mike Roberts. I'm going to talk about the FRI framework, which is a framework that details 3 different levers to drive growth in your business. I work for Google, but these are my views. So this is a really interesting framework because it is MISI. It is mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, which means that there's no overlap between the different categories of this framework, and it covers all possible options, which basically just means all marketing, all advertising that has ever been done fits within one of these 3 categories. So if we break it down, frequency is the first category. How do I increase the number of times my existing customers buy from me? Reach is the second category, and that is how do I get new customers to buy from me? And then yield is how do I get them to buy more or spend more money or buy a larger number of things when they do buy from me every time they buy. So those are the 3 levers that if we're trying to grow our business, we can pull each of them or drive certain tactics to achieve each of them. So if we look into frequency, if I'm trying to sell jeans, and I am trying to get someone who buys jeans from me 1 time per year and get them to buy them 4 times per year. There's lots of different ways and tactics to do this. Just as an example, I can offer them a coupon. I can get them to, the price sensitive customers to come back and buy more often if I give them a discount. I could also use a lot of brand marketing and PR and think about how do I get them to wear them from, 1 day a week to 5 days a week, and then they're gonna wear out 5 times faster and have to buy from me more frequently from that perspective. And that's having to shift culture and shift habits, and there's a lot of habit design that can go into how do we shift, get marketing to shift people's habits, which is really hard to do, but big brands think a lot about that. I also think that there's a category of, it's not something that I'd recommend, but reducing the quality of the product. And so if the product wears out more quickly and then they have to buy a replacement, for that, which has led to a whole bunch of negative implications. So, if you think about, fast fashion where they design the clothes to wear out more quickly, or with computers where if one piece of the computer breaks, you have to throw away the whole computer and get a whole new computer rather than just fix the part that was broken. And it's, and then the last, planned obsolescence example is maybe with cell phones where they design them to break after just a year or 2, and they could make them last longer, but they don't. And they also change the cords, so you have to buy a new cord every time. So these are things where you have to be careful about what you measure and how you measure success, because if you take it too far or don't watch for the negative externalities of what you measure, then it could lead to these some of negative implications. But regardless of that, if we're thinking about what are the levers, frequency is one of the easiest and most comprehensive or just the most cost-effective ways of driving new sales. Part of the reason for that is customers who have already purchased from us already know the brand, already like what they buy from us, and it's much easier to get them to spend money again. And it actually, research shows that it costs 50 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. So there's a lot of brand marketing that is spent on trying to get a new customer to think of us, to consider us, and then to buy from us. And that's not needed to spend that much money on that if you're talking to your existing customers. So that's something with frequency. If we look at reach, one of the 2 components to think about with reach is, how do I get new customers to buy my jeans that maybe have never bought them before? The 2 things to think about is what is, who do I want to reach most, and how do I reach them? And one of the best ways of looking at it is at my existing customers. And I try to find the ones that are the highest lifetime value, or LTV. And those are the ones that are going to be most likely to spend the most money, not just today or in their store visit today, but in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's something that when you think about who is my best customer is probably different than who my competitor's best customer is. And the reason for that is that there's different brand value propositions, there's different margins for different products. So Wrangler, if they're trying to sell jeans, might find that their highest LTV customers are ranchers in the Midwest who love the rugged sort of durability of the jeans and they wear them 7 days a week. Versus Levi's, which sells the same sort of product, might find that their highest LTV customers are actually people that live in Manhattan that are investment bankers that are trying to find something to wear for casual Friday, and they are willing to spend a lot of money on those jeans because they make a lot of money and it's a very high margin product. So that might be Levi's best sort of high LTV customer. So after you find out who your best customer is, you want to find more people like them. And you want to understand what are the characteristics that make them to be high value. And like I just described with those two different audiences for Wrangler and Levi's. So I think the other thing is, how do you think about how to reach those customers? And reach is the currency that we spend money to acquire. We spend money to acquire reach on a whole bunch of different platforms. So TV, online video are great examples of where we buy reach as the primary KPI. And one of the challenges is if I'm Levi's and I'm trying to reach everyone, because everyone's a potential customer, and I go and I buy a lot of TV and buy a lot of tonnage there, it actually is something that I can't continue to buy the entire population with TV because of all the cord cutters. So if you think about the group 18 to 34 who have been cutting the cord more and more and more, it's actually a sizable audience now that's been doing that. And so there's a blind spot in the TV buy. So when I'm thinking about reaching new audiences, if I find that audiences 18 to 34 have cut the cord, TV is not going to be the best place to go to reach that audience. So you want to find out, where does that target high LTV audience spend their most time and are the most influenced? And so I'll think about finding the blind spot there as an example, just one example. And the last category is yield. So how do I get customers to buy more every time they purchase? For this, there's a few different tactics. Upselling and cross-selling is one of them, and that's if you buy the 2-for-1 deals, if you look at deals that are trying to get you to spend more, with multiple jeans in the same purchase, for example, or if you just think about, I'm going to sell jeans and a belt at the same time. So I'm going to put the belts by the checkout aisle, and that's like a merchandising play. Or you could think about also expanding into new categories. So that's maybe Levi's branches out from just denim and they start getting into yoga pants, and now there's different types of pants that they're going to sell you in the same visit because there's different use cases for them. And then the last thing that I think is an interesting tactic is thinking about price tiering. So when the iPhone first came out, it was $400 and now it's $1,200, and every year they come out with new phones that are effectively allowing them to maximize revenue per customer, because there's some people who will spend any amount of money for the latest and greatest phone, and they'll spend $1,200 for the very best. But then there's a succession of people who aren't quite willing to spend that much money, but a little bit less. And by having tiers basically between $400 and $1,200, every $50 is what they have now, they're able to maximize the revenue for every customer based on their willingness to pay for that product. So they're increasing their yield because there's only so many iPhones that they can sell, because the population who wants iPhones already has an iPhone and they don't need a second one. So now they need to figure out how to increase the price for those who can afford to do that and decrease it for those who can't afford that and reach a larger number of people. So that's, in wrap, that's the Fry framework: frequency, reach, and yield. Those are the 3 levers to be able to grow sales. Again, my name is Mike Roberts. Thanks for watching. Definitely subscribe, and would love to hear any comments about how you're thinking about this, examples you've used below. So thanks so much for watching, and hope to hear from you again soon. Bye.